protection system. The power system protection plays a vital role to protect the equipment in the given power system. So generally the protection system is nothing but it is the combination of relay as well as the circuit breaker. Okay, so these two are nothing but the protection system in the power system. The function of the relay is to sense the fault and to give the trip signal to the circuit breaker, and the circuit breaker will be isolating the contacts from the circuit from the faulty point, so thereby protecting the equipment from the fault current. So by combining these two equipment, the protection system will be working in the power system. So already we have discussed the protection system, a part of the protection system circuit breaker in the previous unit. Now we will be discussing the concepts and working principles of the relay in the power system. So based upon the philosophy of protection, the relays are classified into 4 types based on philosophy of protection. Based on philosophy of protection, the relays have been classified into overcurrent relay, relays, and directional relay, distance relay. We will be discussing all these things afterwards. So first of all, I would like to give some basics regarding the relays, and last one is the differential relay. So based upon the philosophy of protection, relays have been classified into 4 types: overcurrent relay, directional relay, distance relay, and differential relay. So out of these 4 relays, most of the relays are overcurrent relays only. So this is based upon the philosophy of protection system. Similarly, I would like to just give basics on relays first, then we will enter slowly to the topic. So based on technology, how they are manufacturing, and that based upon the manufacturing technology, relays have been classified into 4 types again. First one is the mechanical relay. Second one, static relays. Third one, digital relays. The fourth one is numerical relays. So this is based upon the technology used in the relays while manufacturing. So based upon the technology used in the manufacturing, relays have been classified into 4 types: mechanical relay, static relays, digital relays, and numerical relays. Okay, the numerical relays, now we are using this type of relays, numerical relays. What do you have generally in the numerical relays means it is having some input structure here, like let us take this is a relay. So there will be inputs. The input is like voltage input and current input. These are related to current input. Okay, and there will be a software related to relays, basic software. After that there will be some hardware including the display, and digital signal processing will be there. So this is a combination of a numerical relay which consisting of the software and hardware, and the hardware you will be having some outputs here, and here you will be having some another inputs related to the operation. So this kind of relays are used nowadays called numerical relays, and also this can be called as IED, that means intelligent electronic devices. Intelligent electronic devices. Okay, so having certain software related to the relays and hardware components, and number of inputs, voltage and current, and as well as certain inputs. So these are to have certain rated values. For the reference purpose, we are giving rated voltage and rated current, and these are the certain inputs which are required to the relays, and also there will be output. This type of intelligent relay is called a numerical relay or intelligent electronic device. So here, like, based on the technology, relays have been classified into 4 types: mechanical relays, static relays, digital relays, and numerical relays. Okay, so why we required relays? Why we required relays means, whenever there is a abnormal condition existing in the circuit, in the power system network, then somebody has to sense that abnormal condition, and somebody has to break the circuit, so that the generator or transformer or any equipment which are connected to the transmission system or in a power system has to be protected. So here, as we discussed, the breaking and making of a circuit can be done by using circuit breaker, and the intelligent part of this protection system will be taking care of relay. So relay has to sense that abnormal condition first. Okay, now we'll see actually what are the causes for abnormal condition. What are the causes for getting abnormal condition in the power system? We'll see first. So why this kind of abnormal conditions will be existing in the power system, so that our relay has to work based upon that abnormal conditions. Okay, so there are many reasons to get abnormal conditions. So mostly we'll cover as much as possible that abnormal conditions generally occurring in the power system network. First one is the natural events which we cannot control, which the events are not in our control. Natural events. Because of the natural events also, there may be existing certain abnormal conditions. So you may be experiencing that natural events in our daily life. We are going to watch at the time of rainy seasons and all. So the most natural event to get certain abnormal condition is lightning effect. During rainy season, you may observe many thunders and many lightnings will be existing, and that will be having certain great effect on the electrical devices. So lightning effect is the most dangerous effect in the power system, because it is having enormous abnormal current, and the current will be flowing through the devices, that is called short circuit current, and this is one of the fault that we are going to experience during rainy season. Lightning effect is one of the dangerous abnormal condition, and due to winds also, the lines will be falling on each other. There may be existing a fault, a line to line fault. So that is also one kind of abnormal condition. Winds means not normal winds, heavy winds, that can be considered as a natural abnormal condition. And because of the winds also, there may be a chance of falling the trees on the supply lines. So that is also causing natural abnormal condition. These things will be generally observed during rainy season. Okay, so that's why rain is also one kind of abnormal condition for our electrical department. Okay, so as per if you consider farmers or any other, the rain is a important thing for them, but as a electrical engineer, we have to take it as an abnormal condition, so that our electrical equipment may be affected here. So that's why I am considering here rain is an abnormal condition for us, so that during rainy season there may be a chance of falling of trees on the supply lines, winds also there, lightning is also there. Okay, along with this one, so if you take Western countries there may be a chance of ice loading on the conductors, so that is also one kind of abnormal condition. Fire and explosives, certain explosives may cause abnormal conditions on the power supply lines, and certain flying objects like dust or any dust particles or any flying objects because of the winds may be falling on the supply lines. Anything may cause the abnormal condition to the power system network. So from this abnormal condition, the abnormal current will be flowing through the transmission line, and that has to be detected by the relay. So that is due to natural events. Because of the natural events also there may be a chance of getting abnormal conditions. And second one is certain physical accidents. Physical accidents. That means we can observe in our daily life there are certain vehicles which are crashing the transmission pole. Vehicles crashing the transmission pole may give you the interruption in the power supply, called an abnormal condition only. This is called a physical accident happening to the transmission line or a pole. Vehicle crashing the transmission line or a pole, or a contractor, for example, because of any, for example, in metropolitan cities, if the underground water has to get repaired, then they have to dig that. So if a contractor, any type of contractor or any person is digging the underground cables, so then in that case also the power supply may be lost, and there may be a chance of getting the fault also. So cables, if the insulation has been broken, then the cables will be attaching, the cables will be in contact with each other, causing to line fault. So if any person digging the cables, generally this thing will be happen in the metropolitan cities. Or sometimes if you observe some animals or some persons or operators coming in contact with live objects accidentally. You can observe these things in villages. If a farmer is operating his pump set, he may be facing certain shock. So that kind of things, if any animal or an operator is coming in contact with the live objects in the power system accidentally only, wantedly they will not do that like that, because anybody wanted to do like that, so there is no scope to live again. So these things are happening in a accidental manner only. So that's why I am considering these kind of effects in a accidents, physical accidents. Third one is another chance of having abnormal condition is equipment failure. Equipment failure means what? Whatever we are using the equipment, synchronous generator, it may be a synchronous generator or a transformer or a transmission line, after that a motor. So this is a motor, this is also induction motor. So any equipment, because of earthing or grounding or insulation failure, like that. So if any equipment which are operated on the in the power system may be failed because of certain reason, aging effect or some other reasons, so we can also consider this as a equipment failure. Because of equipment failure also there exists an abnormal condition. Mainly this equipment failure will be due to breakdown of insulation only. If because of any reason, if the insulation got failed, breakdown of insulation, then the equipment will be failed. So this can cause an abnormal effect to the power system network. So is there any other options to get abnormal condition, we can have another abnormal condition, that is mal-operation or misoperation. Mal-operation or misoperation. What do you meaning of mal-operation? Most of the cases this kind of things will be happened in the power system network. Actually, we are having like this a circuit. Let us take, to protect a transformer, I am having this kind of equipment with me. This is the way that I can protect my transformer. Further there is another protection, I will explain that one, otherwise I will draw here. I should also have earth switches like this. So this is the way to protect a transformer for my operation. How should I operate means, so listen carefully here. This is the circuit breaker, this is the isolator, this is my transformer or any equipment, any machine. Let us take, I am taking transformer. So this is also an isolator and this is a circuit breaker. These are called earth switches. Earth switches, and these are the terminals of the transformer in my case, because I am not considering these as my terminals, because I should have protection to the transformer, so that I am considering this as my transformer terminals. The order of opening the circuit, the order of opening the transformer here. So whenever there exists a fault, for example, I wanted to disconnect this transformer from the network. So how to open the transformer? Order of opening the transformer. First you have to open the circuit breaker, because we already discussed this. The function of circuit breaker and isolator is same: to break the circuit or to make the circuit. But the property of circuit breaker is to quench the arc existing between the contacts. So that is the main application of the circuit breaker compared to isolator. So here, when these things are closed, when the isolator and the circuit breaker is closed, transformer is connected to the network. These two also same. If I wanted to open the transformer, if I wanted to disconnect the transformer from the circuit, I have to open the circuit. So all of a sudden, if I open isolator, then there exists an arc between these two contacts, and the air is acting as a dielectric medium. Therefore, the arc will be struck between these two contacts and the arc will be continued. That means your transformer has not isolated from the circuit, still it is in the circuit only. Somebody has to quench the arc. Then it is not possible to quench the arc by using the air, because already air beside this contacts has been ionized and it is acting like a conducting path. Now that's the reason why we should not operate isolator first. Whereas when the circuit breaker is having the arc quenching property, first of all you have to open the circuit breaker, then there exists an arc between the two contacts. Even though the arc struck between the two contacts, by using the method of arc quenching property, the circuit breaker can extinguish the arc. If you are using oil circuit breaker or air blast circuit breaker, SF6 or vacuum circuit breaker, whatever it may be, the arc will be quenched. Once the arc has been quenched, then in that case the isolator can be opened, because already the arc has been quenched here. Therefore, if you are opening the isolator, there will be no arc existing between the contacts. So what is the order of opening? First of all, you have to open the circuit breaker, then you go for isolator, and after that you should open the earth switches, because the earth switch, that means this one. Even though you open the circuit breaker and isolator, there exists ballastic capacitance across the transformer winding. What do you mean by ballastic capacitance? Means, for example, this is a transformer winding. Let us take, okay, for each winding, so Q is equal to C into V, charge is equal to capacitance into voltage. Generally the voltage of a transformer is around 440 by 220 kV. So there exists a capacitance here across the windings. Okay, so this is called ballastic capacitance. So because of this high value of ballastic capacitance, there exists a dead short circuit, and even though if you are going to touch the transformer, you will be getting the shock. So that's why after opening the circuit breaker and as well as isolator, you must short the earth switches. So that this ballastic capacitance will be nullified. So what is the order of opening here? First one, you have to open circuit breaker, and you have to open isolator, and you have to close the earth switches. To nullify the ballastic capacitance existing across the transformer winding. Otherwise you will be getting shock. So that's the way to open the transformer, or that's the way to disconnect the transformer from the circuit. Okay, if you are not closing the ballastic earthing switches, then there may be a capacitance effect already existing across the transformer winding. Because of that, you will be facing a short circuit current. When you are touching the winding of a transformer, you will be getting shock. So that's why order of isolating or order of disconnecting the transformer or any machine, let us take a transformer basically. So transformer, then the order of opening is first open the circuit breaker, then isolator, and after that close the earth switches. Now how to connect the transformer to the circuit? Reverse process. So that's why I am considering it as order of closing, or I am calling it as connecting the transformer to the network. How to close? First one is open the earth switch, then close the isolator, then close the circuit breaker. Then your transformer has connected to the circuit. So these are the causes of abnormal conditions in the power system. First one is the natural events. Next one is the physical accidents. Natural events means you will be facing lightning, wind effect, falling the trees, rain, ice formation, fire hazards, explosives, flying objects falling on the transmission line. And similarly, physical accidents means vehicles crashing to the transmission line poles, contractors digging the cables, animals or operators accidentally touching the live cables or live wires or transmission lines. And equipment failure because of the isolation breakdown, that is also an effect of causing abnormal voltages. Mal-operation, if you are operating in a misoperation or a mal-operation, there exists a abnormal condition. So like that, there may be a procedure for disconnecting or connecting an equipment to the transmission line or a power system network. So these are the causes of getting abnormal conditions in the power system network. And you know what are the abnormal conditions that you may face in the power system network? That we will discuss now. What are the abnormal conditions? What are the abnormal conditions that we may face is series faults, and second one is shunt faults. series faults and shunt faults. Series faults are known as open circuit faults and shunt faults are known as short circuit faults. Right. So already we have discussed these things regarding series faults and shunt faults. Anyway, I would like to give some basic information regarding this. First one is series faults. If there is a breakdown of conductor's path, if there is a breakdown of its conduction path, then that is called a series fault. So for example, this is a conduction or a conductor. So if there is a breakdown of its conduction path, then this can be called as a series fault. What are the reasons for this? Means that is because of mal-operation of circuit breaker. That means improper open or improper closing of a circuit breaker may cause a series fault. Or broken conductors inside the electrical machines. Broken conductors inside the machine. So the winding may be broken. So that because of that also the series faults may be existing. Or breakdown of the jumpers. Breakdown of the jumpers at poles of a transmission line, that may be causing a series fault. So how can you characterize these series faults? Means series faults can be characterized by its basic parameters. That means whenever you get a series fault, there may be a rise in the voltage and falling in the current. So because of these parameters, you may be detecting the series fault. Whenever there is a series fault existing, you may experience increasing in the voltage, terminal voltage, and reduce in the current. So what type of fault that can be? It can be called as long as the voltage has raised its value, this can be called as over voltage fault. Over voltage. This over voltage caused by what? Because of open circuit. This over voltage caused by open circuit fault. Always it is in the transient in nature. Because of the open circuit fault, over voltage existed, and this over voltage always in the transient nature. Transient in nature. This over voltage is always in transient in nature. Right. So what are the problems with this open circuit fault? What are the problems when because of this over voltage? Problems with open circuit fault or over voltage. Problems with open circuit fault. What is the problem that you are facing? Open circuit fault means you have to keep in this mind. So this is a supply, for example. This is your open circuit fault. So this is the load and this is a supply or a generating station. What is the problem? First one, the consumer will be facing the problem here. First one, that means loss of the supply to the consumer. To the load means what here? Let us take it as a consumer only. Loss of the supply to the consumer. Therefore, consumer will not be happy and consumer will not pay the money to the generation side. So therefore, revenue loss to the electrical company. That's the first drawback of open circuit. Any problem is there, this is the first problem. So loss of the supply to the consumer, so that the revenue will be lost. Excuse me. The over voltage is existing, then because of this over voltage, what is the main drawback? What is the main problem we are facing? Whenever there exists a over voltage, definitely insulation will be damaged. insulation will be damaged. Insulation will be damaged because insulation is designed as per the rating of the voltage, root 3 times of the rated voltage. If the voltage has been increased over voltage, then the insulation will be damaged. If any one of the phase got opened, that means the balanced 3 phase will become now 2 phase or single phase. That means earlier these are balanced in nature, now it became unbalanced power supply. Okay, therefore the disturbance caused by this open circuit fault is because of the over voltage. So if the disturbance is very high, if the over voltage is very high, then this effect will be falling on the grid. The grid may be facing the stability problem. Grid may not be stable. So that's why these are the effects caused by the open circuit fault or a over voltage fault. So similarly, short circuit fault. We know that very well. Short circuit faults are line to ground, line to line, line to line to ground, line to line to line, triple LG faults. All are these short circuit faults only. So basically, short circuit faults are happened because of mainly breakdown of the insulation. Whenever there is a breakdown of insulation, then one contact will be touching another contact, causes to line fault, like that. So breakdown of insulation is the main reason for short circuit fault. Breakdown of insulation is the main reason for short circuit fault. How can you find out this short circuit fault? Means there may be rise in the current, short circuit current. Okay, so these short circuit faults are characterized by rise in the current and a dip in the voltage. If there is a fault in any part of the power system network, then the magnitude of the fault current will be more. That means what here? 2 to 10 times of the full load current. And the fault is flowing through the faulty section, and as well as the healthy section too. So therefore the healthy section will also get affected. So that's why you have to protect the power system network from these abnormal conditions. Due to these abnormal conditions, and due to this high magnitude of currents, what are the factors which this high magnitude of fault current depends? That means, so I am writing here, the magnitude of fault current, which depends on the magnitude of this fault current will be depending upon location of the fault, and the type of the fault, which type of fault it is. Like if LG fault is there, the magnitude is less. If triple LG fault is there, the magnitude is more, like that. The value of the fault impedance, and the fourth one is number of sources available to feed that fault. Number of sources available to feed this fault. That means synchronous generator or motor or a condenser, these are the sources. Okay, so if there are two generators or a synchronous generator and motor, then these two can be feed the fault current to the system. So therefore the magnitude of the fault current is more, like that. And similarly, fault impedance means what here? Like this is a generator, transformer, and this is a load. For example, load is 50 ohms and the transmission line is 2 ohms, let me say. So during normal operation, the current flowing through the transmission line is operated voltage divided by transmission line plus load. That means V means, let us take 400 by root 3, normal voltage I am taking. Z transmission line is 2 ohms and ZL is 50 ohms. So this will be 50 plus 2, which is equal to 52. So here my current will be approximately 8 by root 3 kV, kilo ampere, right? And during fault condition means, let us take a short circuit fault. So therefore this impedance will be nullified, and what is my fault current? V by now Z transmission line only. ZL will be cancelled here. So therefore 400 by root 3 divided by 2. So this is around 200 by root 3 kilo amperes. That's mean, what is that meaning here? The fault current has been increased. Fault current is more compared to the normal rated current. So due to this high magnitude fault current, which is associated with the short circuit current, fault, the power system equipments experienced two factors. First one is thermal stress, and second one is mechanical stress, because of this high fault current. As we saw just now, during normal condition I1 will be 8 by root 3 kilo amperes, but due to fault condition the current will be 200 by root 3 kilo amperes. So the magnitude of the current is more here. Because of this high magnitude of currents, the power system equipments which are associated with the network are facing two types of stress. That is called, first one is the thermal stress and second one is the mechanical stress. Thermal stress in the sense what here? Heat energy only. Thermal stress means heat energy. Heat energy can be given as fault current square into resistance of the network into time. Time means what here? Fault duration. This is the fault duration. How much time the fault is there? Because of that time duration, heat effect will be raised. Or this can be called as a fault clearance time. If the fault clearance time is more, then there is more heat energy will be there. If the fault clearance time is less, the heat energy will be less, then the thermal stress will be less, like that. If it is not cleared, what happens? If the fault is taken place, if the fault clearance time is more, that means if the fault is not cleared, so what happens means, as the heat energy will be more, what happens? If the heat energy is increased, the next consequence will be insulation will be damaged, and the conductors gets melted. Conductors are also affected. That means conductors gets melting of the conductors. Then at last fire catches, called fire hazard, because of the heat effect. If the fault is not cleared in time, these are the consequences happened. And similarly, what is the mechanical stress? Mechanical stress means what here? Generally, this is a conductor, this is another conductor, current flowing through this is I1, current flowing through this is I2. Let us take the, as per the wrapped finger rule, flux and current will be in this fashion and displaced by a distance d. Then what is the force existing between these two conductors? I1 into I2 by d2 square or d square, distance square. Okay, if I1 and I2 are in same direction, there may be a mechanical stress called attraction between these two conductors will be taken place. So therefore, if the magnitude of the conductor's current is same, then the force exerted, mechanical stress exerted, is directly proportional to I square and inversely proportional to d square. So there is also another stress which are facing by the conductors here is mechanical stress. So these are some basics required for the relays topic. First one is protection is nothing but combination of relays and circuit breakers, and based on the philosophy of protection, relays are classified into 4 types: overcurrent relays, direction relay, distance relay, differential relay. And based on the technology, mechanical relays, static relays, digital relays, and numerical relays. And what are the causes of the abnormal condition means? First one is the natural events, that is due to lightning, winds, falling trees, rain, ice formation, fire formation, explosives, flying objects. And physical accidents, equipment failure, and maloperation procedure should be followed. And abnormal conditions are due to series fault and shunt faults. Series faults are nothing but maloperation of circuit breaker, broken conductors inside the machine, breakdown of the insulator. So how can you identify the characteristics of open circuit faults? Are rise in the voltage, falling in the current. So over voltage fault. So problems with over voltage fault is loss of supply, loss of revenue, and insulation damaged, unbalanced power supply, grid failure. Similarly, short circuit fault, rise in the current, dip in the voltage. And the magnitude of the fault current depends upon the location of fault, type of the fault, value of the fault impedance, number of sources which are feeding the fault. So that the magnitude of the current will be more. Because of that, the conductors will be facing the stress, thermal stress and mechanical stress. So these are the basics regarding the relays topic.